I got inference coming out at all ends. Welcome everyone to another episode of the Mere Morpheus podcast. I'm your host here, Kyrin, live on the 28th of April, 2026. And today we're going to be doing a bit of a tutorial. Indeed, we're going to be trying to set up the Morpheus skill. Now, I actually have set it up, but I'm going to be doing a slight run through, so showing you a couple of the different steps. We'll go over some prerequisites of what I would recommend already having before getting started, before jumping on to a couple of different websites you need to connect to, before finally we'll try a bit of a live demo showcasing jumping from different models and how the billing process works, and maybe even how you can get yourself $10 of free credits. So let's just jump on to, I guess, what some prerequisites are and what the actual Morpheus skill is. So the Morpheus skill, for those who don't know, is a Claude quality inference at 78% less cost. So it's essentially using your Morpheus tokens to be able to get compute credits, and then using that via, in my case, I'm using it via an agent, in particular OpenClaw, but I imagine you can do this via another sort of interface. I haven't dived into all of the myriad of ways that you can use this inference, but certainly if you're more technical, you could go down and integrate it directly into like the back end of an app or something like this. If you're more basic like me, you're just really trying to start things out and see like, how can I actually get to the point where I can use this inference to talk to an LLM, and then from there we can do all of the zany apps and crazy things beyond that. So we'll perhaps talk a little bit more in future episodes about pricing, about tiers, about different models, and why it is or is not, depending on your circumstances, a sound economic decision to actually have the Morpheus inference, and some of the trade-offs and benefits that actually come from having this. So what are a couple of prerequisites? Well, I would say you probably already want to have an agent framework or some sort of setup already in place. So in particular, this is going through what I was talking about recently in past episodes of the one command click easy install not being true. Get through the hard work of actually getting that done, whether you're on a Mac Mini, whether you are doing it through Windows subsystem for Linux like I am, or whether you're a full-blown Linux user. I would also say that you probably want to be at the point where you're already talking to an LLM kind of via your agent or through your agent, so that you've already got some sort of inference or compute already available. You know, whether this be, I did it through getting Venice first, because the Morpheus skill on top of that is, I'm not sure. It was actually exceedingly easy. Maybe if I'd done it the other way around, doing the Morpheus skill would have been hard, and then getting Venice would have been exceedingly easy. I think it's just once you get to a stage where you already have something that you can talk to and can kind of debug itself, that's the point you want to be getting to when you're starting to add more models in, because it just makes it so much easier. So, perhaps like the most easiest route is having some OpenAI or a subscription to some place, get that set up and use it to get you set up via the more decentralized options, and then it's a lot more easier. At least that's probably what I would suggest. And you probably already want to have bought some Morpheus or Venice, so you already want to know how to like go onto Base or Arbitrum and be able to buy tokens, and be familiar with connecting a wallet to a dashboard or things like this. That's probably also a prerequisite, I would say, for where you want to be at. So let's jump into, I guess, some of the steps and how you would actually go through doing the Morpheus skill and getting that connected to your agent. So I'm going to jump over to here. And for those who are just listening via the audio, there is a video of this as well, which would probably make it a lot more easier. I would suggest starting off with more.org and staking to the subnet that is required to be part of the Morpheus inference marketplace. So If you're completely brand new, don't even know what Morpheus is, come here, you can click the buy more button, and that'll show you kind of like what the contract is, what the price is, and then you would have to go onto like a DEX of some sort and do that yourself. Once you actually already have some Morpheus in a wallet, something like a Rabby MetaMask, something like that, you can see I've got some Morpheus in here. We then go over to the dashboards and the builders dashboard. This will take you to a section here listing out all of the dashboard builders that are available. So I actually have the Mere Morpheus way down in the list somewhere here where I've got some of that staking to myself. There we are, Mere Morpheus. At the top here is where you can see, because this is pretty popular in terms of more staked, it's almost at 100,000, the Morpheus Marketplace API. I will just show that I'm already staking in it. And the reason I would recommend doing this first is because it takes kind of 24 hours potentially to kick over to actually get your stake. So depends on when you're staking. But a lot of these places will do and Venice does the same as UTC midnight, which is 10 a.m. Australian Standard Time or Australian Eastern Standard Time, is when it kind of like this daily inference ticks over. So it does take potentially, 12 hours if you're doing it at midday UTC for it to kick over. So that's why I would suggest doing this first. So this is where you connect your wallet to the website. You can then just come over to here, go to the Morpheus Marketplace API. This is on Base. There is another one for Arbitrum. And this is where you just stake a certain amount of Morpheus, however much you want to it. I did 40 just as a test here, and I will probably be doing a little bit more later. And you can go down the list here and see all the various different stakers. If I went through quite a whole bunch of them and got to page 10 or something, then you would see myself. At the moment, there's only 60 of us, or 60 different wallets. There could be multiple different users staking for different purposes. Lock period of 7 days. And the description here, the official subnet for Morpheus Marketplace API, the subnet will serve as the message to stake for access. Staking within the subnet will accrue daily credits within app.more.org. So that's what you want to be doing, staking to at the moment. And basically how it works is, of all of the total Morpheus staked here, you will get a percentage of credits based on how much is in there. So me being the tiny shrimp I am at 40 more, I believe at the moment I get 0.08 cents of credits daily, and that will vary depending on how much is actually staked. If more people stake, that'll be less. If I stake more, it'll be more. If some people drop out, it'll be more. And it's very confusing saying more and Morpheus because the token is called more. Very good, Kyrin. So that's the first step that you want to do. Go to more.org, go to the dashboard, get your builder set up, and then you are in here. Now, it also mentions here app.more.org. So that is the next place you go to. So if you click on that, that'll take you to here where it should jump, I guess, straight to your API keys. No, it actually won't because I'm already logged in. So you'll need to log in first, just via a simple email, and then you get into this area here. So we see we've got API keys, billing, models, pricing, usage, analytics, and you can do a little test, and then finally documentation. So you can see I've already got my API key set up, and I created it yesterday. And this will create a key that's called SK, a bunch of different digits and numbers. If we go into the other sections here, showing the billing, you can see this area here is where it finally showed me my credits. So because I did this yesterday at like 10:30 a.m., I had to wait the full 24 hours. So a little annoying because you want to get stuck in and started straight away, but that's why I recommend doing the Morpheus staking first and then jumping over to this area. So you connect your wallet that you use to stake your more. You can see down here I've got my 40 more staked here. You can also, if you want to, just buy credits directly within the app via crypto or credit cards. I've got 0.08 daily, and I've already used 0.06 or 0.07, hence why I only have 1 cent of daily credit remaining. Because they're kind of trying to bootstrap this, you do get a little bit of bonus cash here. So you got $10 of credits. And when we do our live run through, I'm going to try and test out and see what happens. But basically, it should use your daily API credits remaining before jumping over onto any available credits. So let's say that you've got, $5 worth or $1 worth, or like myself, 8 cents worth. It should use this up daily before then jumping over to your kind of like backup system that you've got over here. So that's a nice little way of kind of restricting yourself, or just monitoring, being like, all right, I've got these kind of daily credits and I've got a little backup stash. You can almost think of it as like using a debit card on the regular. And if you get that down to 0, you've got an automatic system that'll kick in and go to another card where you perhaps have some savings or something like that. So that's the billing. Shows all the different models here that are available, and what they are, what they do, and you can jump further into that, and the model pricing as well, which I found really useful because it gives you just like a little bit of a rough guide as to which models actually cost the most and why. So, and what they're doing. So you've got GLM 5.1, QMK 2.5. So I was using this one as my default on Venice for ages. And it was only until I kind of came here and I saw like, oh, there's actually a couple of models that are much cheaper. The Gemma 431B, or the one that I switched to recently, which was, if I find it here, GPT OSS 120B, and it's only got 0.07 cents. Now, obviously, all the different models give you a different output or variety of, if you're the complex task that you're doing, what it's meant to be doing. So you could have advanced chat and content. You've got something that's classification, simple, Mistral, basic agent functionality, Venice uncensored for the creative use, and ones which are more suited for code development, ones which are cost-efficient AI agents with the mini max, all these sorts of things. You probably need to test around a lot. I have not done a lot of testing, so that'll probably also be a future episode as well. Finally, usage analytics. You can kind of see how you're using your credits and what they've been using on. So I was just playing around a little bit this morning, and you can see I used my Morpheus inference here. What did I spend it on? It was spent on GLM 4.7 Flash, even though I have a couple of other options which I was playing around with as well. And you can dive into it further and further, like credit spend, how much your stake spend, daily token volume, understanding your usage, all these sorts of things. For those who are data geeks and love it, you can filter by date, time, all that sort of stuff, and export the data as well. So you've got your Morpheus tokens, you've staked them, you've now gone to your dashboard and you've gotten yourself an API key. What is the next step? How do I connect this to my agent? And this is where we go to the Morpheus Skill website, which is something David Johnston has set up. So jumping over to here, once again, morpheusskill.com. And this time it actually was a relatively easy one-click install. So kudos to David. Once you've actually got some stuff set up, it actually was a lot easier. So, what do you get? 30 plus open source models. You're owning your own inference. You can use this on any agent platform. So OpenClaw, Hermes Agent, IronClaw, NanoClaw, any platform that supports agentskills.io. And, the big whole reason you want to use Morpheus in the first place is because it's like the peer-to-peer marketplace, falls back to local Llama, no API bills, no credit limits, things like this. So it's really, you're not going to get cut off at the source. The only source is how much capital you're willing to put into it to get out there. So I can give you a little show through of what I actually did yesterday. So I simply just copied this curl, the fssl get everclaw at xyz, because it used to be called everclaw, and he's just renamed it to the Morpheus Skill for a little bit more ease of use. And he shows here the different things that you can use, and it's all the same curl. So I tried this out myself, and here's just what actually happened. So I copied that, pasted that into my terminal here. So I would have literally, if you want to see me do it real time, just copy this, copy it, go over to here, put it into your, in my case, the Ubuntu setup, and then I just run that command. This is what I actually got whilst running the command. And there are still some like minor bugs here and there, for example. So it did a lot of the stuff at the top, came down here and was saying there's still some manual steps needed. It was looking for this setup.mjs file. When I actually went into there, it wasn't in there. I think this is probably now called the bootstrap gateway file, something like that. And it gives you some recommendations of like, okay, it's successfully installed. This is what you can do to use that API key that we generated previously up over in here in the app.more.org, this key. This is how you actually chuck it in. I won't be showing you my key because I don't want you guys using that. But what we then got to was this area over here, where it was just saying like, yep, we've used your bootstrapping. So the install wasn't found, this wasn't found, but the everclaw setup was complete. And so it actually worked relatively simple, relatively easy. You know, little slight hiccup, but the suggested command worked. And so I got to the point where I was then just kind of using the OpenClaw setup to actually go or config and using my models and going like, okay, like what do I actually need to do? Jumping over to here, jumping into the model, and I was able to start seeing it, see it down in these areas here. I'm not sure it actually shows up in this portion at the moment, but I was using Venice just before, and I think there's an option for a like a different type of access to it. You play around with it, you find out what actually works and not. So now we jump into the scariest part of all, which is me attempting a little bit of a live demo. So we can see I've got my OpenClaw set up here. I've got my current model of Venice, which is at GPT OSS 120B. I was using Kimi just before. And then the GLM 4.7 Flash is the gateway. So it kind of prompts you like, hey, what kind of model do you want to use? And because I was looking at the model pricing, I was going on, oh yeah, GLM 4.7 Flash, that's probably the cheapest. And my problem at the moment is because I'm just doing like little bits of testing here and there, is that I just don't have a huge amount of credits. And so I'm always running into like, oh, I'm running out of credits pretty quickly. So what we're going to do is, and I'll show you, I'm right at the limit at the moment. I've got 1 cent of credit, also using this OpenAI GPT OSS. And so what you can do is actually have a couple of different fallbacks. So I'm just going to ask it like, hey, chew through some tokens. And what should happen is if I use up this remaining like 1 cent of credit, it should then default back to one of these other models that I've got up the top here. So in particular, the Flash Morpheus gateway. It should default back to that. And then what I'm hoping will happen, and so it's creating a fairly long passage through some tokens. So it's talking about the mega city of Luminar and just going through that. And what should happen, I guess, is if I asked it another question, I'm not sure if it'll tell me directly, hey, the model is run out. You run out of credits yet? if it'll tell me directly or if it'll just jump over onto the other GPT, sorry, not GPT, the other Morpheus gateway. Okay, we actually saw it live just flash over there. So I think that actually did it in real time. So that's kind of cool. That's a win for me. I wasn't expecting that to happen. So and it tells me now the fallback active is on the Morpheus gateway. And I'm going to ask it, okay, expand upon that story a little bit more, upon that story. See if it can do that. And what we should see up the top here is that it'll start using the credits that I had. So if I go over to billing, so it's chewed through my last little credit here, and I would expect it to start to chewed through my last daily API credit remaining, and should now start ticking into this one. So let's jump back to this screen, and wow, amazing. One more. And let's see if it does it in real time again. Oh man, that'd be so cool if it actually does do it. So let me refresh this. Still at 10. So it could be that I'm just not using up enough, or that I'm actually at like 0.005 and actually it doesn't show on the dashboard. But in any case, I think that's a pretty good demo of how you can actually use a couple of different providers at the same time, and how you can actually use the Morpheus skill to jump in. So, I made it look a little bit easy here because I had done a bit of setup yesterday, but this time I'm actually really happy because it was a much less painful process than setting up an actual agent for the first time. So kind of, I guess what I would just recommend is, like I mentioned with those prerequisites, really just working on getting your agent set up first, because all of these things are much easier when you can actually talk to your agent and say to it like, hey, Neo, I want you to switch over, or let me know, is the Morpheus gateway active? Can you tell me why it's not active? Which model is it using? Can you change that model for me? Instead of you having to go to the command line like I'm doing here, where I am a complete idiot and dumbhead and have no idea what I'm doing. You really want to be getting to this stage where you're just talking to it and it's doing the stuff in the back end. So the morpheusskill.com, that's how you can get access to the API gateway, and why you want to use app.more.org to get your staking key, your API key, and using more.org and the builder's subnet to be able to do that. And I'll just show here as well that there should be another subnet created, which is also on the Arbitrum side of things. I think there was one. In any case, it's around there somewhere. Using Base is certainly much easier, but you can use the Arbitrum as well. I did see it was possible, didn't show up just then, but that's very good. So that is it for today. I really hope you got some use out of this through this tutorial. If you're having any troubles, feel free to hit me up via any of the social links, or probably is even easier is just joining the Morpheus Discord, and you'll certainly get lots of help within there as well if you're struggling with any of this. If you want $10 of free API credits, that's the place to go and to try out. And with all of that being said, I do hope you're having a fantastic day wherever you are in the world. Actually, no, wait, let me bring up the full screen. I hope you're having a fantastic day wherever you are in the world. Kyrin out.